Welcome to Module 4 of the Mandated Abuse and Neglect Prevention, Critical Incidents, and Human Rights Training, which should be taken annually by all staff. In this module, we will cover how to report a critical incident. Training overview. At this time, please be prepared to adjust the volume on your computer to listen to this training if necessary. To enable closed captioning, press the CC button in the bottom left or bottom right of your video display screen. This learning path contains multiple components in the form of videos and quizzes. In order to be marked complete for this training, you must complete all modules and pass all quizzes, in addition to completing the final attestation form and mandatory reporter sign-off. Today's agenda will be how to report a critical incident, how to report a critical incident after hours, review of the critical incident written reporting procedure, and where to send a critical incident report. Before we begin, this is a reminder that you are a mandatory reporter. This is a requirement of your job at DDS and for every person providing support to individuals funded by the department. Regardless of your title, you are a mandatory reporter. That means reporting abuse or neglect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not just when you are at work. It is not an option to report abuse and neglect if you witness, are informed, or suspect that it is taking place. As a mandatory reporter, your failure to report suspected abuse or neglect can be reported as neglect itself and may lead to progressive discipline. Any and all types of discipline may be considered depending on the severity of the abuse and neglect that was not reported. To elaborate on the Connecticut General Statute 46A-11B, there must be reasonable cause to suspect abuse or neglect is taking place. The reporter should be prepared to explain their reasonable cause to AID Central Intake and any other agencies as necessary as to why they think there was abuse and neglect. What to do if you witness or suspect abuse or neglect. If you see it, suspect it, hear about it, or have reasonable cause to believe abuse and neglect is taking place, the first thing you should do is stop it, intervene, and protect the victim. Make sure the person receives any medical attention and be supportive. Be kind, compassionate, and caring. And it is critically important to report it. On the screen throughout today's training, you will see the phone number for AID, the Abuse Investigation Division. This is the central intake number to call and report abuse or neglect, which we will discuss later in today's training. Reporting a critical incident. If a critical incident occurs, it must be reported on a 255 incident reporting form, and that form must be sent by encrypted email to the regional email addresses or faxed within 1 business day of the incident. During normal business hours, which are weekdays 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., the responsible program staff shall report immediately to the individual's guardian and or legal representative and to the DDS regional director or designee prior to the end of the staff person shift during which the incident occurred or was discovered. DDS Directive 18-1, reporting a critical incident after hours. First, we're going to discuss Attachment A of this directive, which is specific to public programs. After normal business hours, which are considered weekdays 4:30 p.m. to 8 a.m. and 24 hours a day on weekends and holidays, the responsible program staff shall report to the regional director or designee in addition to other appropriate notifications. The additional appropriate notifications that may need to be notified, depending on the critical incident, would include a DDS case manager, the individual's guardian or legal representative, if applicable, regional health services director, DDS regional manager, 911 local authorities, or the nurse on call or the delegating nurse. If a critical incident occurs, the supervisor or manager on duty can assist with the appropriate notifications that need to be made. DDS Directive 18-1, steps on how to report a critical incident. This is Attachment B for the private sector. To report a critical incident from the private sector after normal business hours, which is defined as weekdays 4:30 p.m. to 8 a.m. and 24 hours a day on weekends and holidays, the responsible program staff shall report to the regional director or designee in addition to other appropriate notifications. The regional director and designee is split by region and should be contacted for the North region at 860-310-6109. The South region, 860-250-2066. In the West region, 203-841-9439. The additional appropriate notifications that may need to be notified, depending on the critical incident, would include DDS case manager, the individual's guardian or legal representative, if applicable, regional health services director, or 911 and local authorities. If a critical incident occurs, the supervisor or manager on duty can assist with the appropriate notifications that need to be made in accordance with the DDS directive. Steps on completing a written critical incident report. Step 1. The 255 form should be filled out immediately and must be completed before the end of the shift. The 255 may be amended later if the incident is determined to be a critical incident or if a critical incident is later determined not to have been critical. Step 2. All additional forms, including the critical incident report follow-up form and any other forms related to the critical incident, must be completed within 5 calendar days. Critical incident reporting, supervisor's responsibility. What you are seeing on this slide are two different sections from the DDS 255 form, Section 1 and Section 4. First, take a look at Section 1. This is where the reporter would indicate whether or not the incident being reported meets the requirements of a critical incident by checking the yes or no box. This is a determination that must be made by the reporter. Next, we'll look at Section 4. Section 4 is to be completed by the supervisor who is reviewing the 255. Supervisor should be alert to the types of critical incidents and ensure that the incident reported was in fact a critical incident. If it is, the yes box should be checked both at the top of the form and in Section 4. If a critical incident occurs, supervisors must initiate an immediate phone call to their DDS regional administrator. The date of the notification should be marked on the form. If this involves a missing person or other emerging critical situations, the regional director or their designee must notify the commissioner. Agency follow-up processes to critical incidents will be triggered once the notification is initiated. Please take note of the disclaimer that's at the bottom of the slide that states the word individual should be used instead of the word client. Additional critical incident reporting forms that may be necessary to complete. Depending on what the incident is, there may be forms in addition to the 255 that would be required. These forms include a medication error report form, known as a 255M, a restraint log, a 255OH/FAM, minor injury communication log, and a missing person form. All of these can be found on the DDS website under the DDS manual. However, if you are unsure what other forms are needed, your supervisor should be able to assist you with what forms to complete and where to access them. Where to send critical incident reports. All incident reports should be submitted using encrypted email or be faxed. The email and fax information for the North, South, and West regions are listed below. This training is the property of the Department of Developmental Services and is protected under state and federal law. The material cannot be altered unless permission has been granted by the Connecticut Department of Developmental Services or the third-party author. This information cannot be distributed for profit and should only be used for training purposes. Thank you for your time today, and if you do have any follow-up questions, please direct them to dds.training@ct.gov.